Oh, ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, low, low, low.
And folks, today's replay comes to us over here from the map of Orsha. Of course, as always, the monthly tournament. Who do we have, sir?
Left-hand side in the blue, we have a Schwere PantsuAbteilung505 playing 17th SS for a balanced income. And right-hand side in red, we have Stardekk playing the 97th Guards Infantry with a Maverick income.
You know, a name like Schwere PantsuAbteilung505, I'm kind of wondering, is this a nom de guerre? I'm waiting for like another, like, oh my gosh, this is a Luna kind of deck happening. But we'll see what goes on here.
Indeed. So, yeah, pretty standard opener. I mean, of course, it's Orsha, so both sides can be playing pretty hard for the town, obviously. Yeah, actually, I do like how Stardekk from the southern side is setting up a decent base of fire along, like, a southern hill. At the same time, actually, we got bloody pioneers trying to make it across the south.
Well, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is that usually you just see such a very, very tacit kind of gentleman's agreement. You won't go, and I won't go, and everything will be fine. I think I'm probably most concerned about Stardekk's 50 mil. Because that 50 mil, despite the fact that there's 5 squads coming in, that 50 mil can shut everything down instantly. Yeah, and here it comes. Because that recon plane sees everything.
Yeah, and the bomber's just waiting for a better opportunity to strike here. And if he keeps that infantry pretty bunched up, he's going to be in for a bad time.
Well, the nice thing is that the intended attack point is actually a little bit far to the north. The IL-2 is actually going to the Pack 38, which actually I like a lot better. And it does kill it. I do want to make a quick note. I will say last week someone get rather furious with me for continuing to call the Pack 38 the door knocker. Yes, you are correct. It is the Pack 36. I do want to make a quick thank you to that individual. I'm still going to screw it up at some point, but why not? In the 50 mil, it does shut down a good portion of this push, but 60% most. Yep.
Yeah, and we're seeing Stardekk, he immediately kills rather large door pusher, and now he's going to be following up immediately with a little mechanized push of his own, guard DPs and half-tracks, T-34. It's not a huge push, but seeing the opportunity here, as Recon you've got vision and good intuition from Stardekk, there's nothing yet, so it's going to work.
I think maybe calling the door pusher, I really like that. I really like that. BF-109 tries to go for a bounce attack after the rockets, but nothing really comes of it. There's an awful lot of ground fire that can still happen. The 37 mil actually does tons of work there. Good lord.
Damn.
Huh. But mechanized push to the south, T-34 coming south, guard coming south, and I'm trying to think, is there even anything getting redeployed there? No, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, we're still seeing really Pantsu invest heavily in the center, of course. I think he's pretty confident in his little pioneering blob would be taking most of the attention array, which doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, the Maxim's here to kind of just put down some long-range pain, and there we go. We got some flat guns being brought in down south, but that's not going to be an adequate defense if this push does materialize, and the guard DP and T-34 do have aggressive move orders.
Well, it's a Flammenwerfer being deployed there, so that's not going to do a whole lot. So, I mean, I know we always give guff to players about this, but you're the 17th SS. Play open fields. You have amazing light recon. Don't get stuck in the ground. In that ground, this is that land war in Asia stuff that we see every single time.
Yeah, they just need to try to push through center, most likely, or even a little bit up north. It's mainly just with the infantry, of course. All the Panzer Grenadiers, you really want to be using them more in the long distance, using those double MG42s. And I'd say in this case, the Stugs can perform alright, but there are some IS2s available from Stardekk, which are very good Stug counters.
Well, and that's the thing, though, too. But I mean, if you look to the south, we have the IG-33, we have an SPW kind of moving around. So that 222 is giving great line of sight, and you can see already a lot of paint's being put down. So the infantry that has been kind of stymied, that's kind of been shut down, the IG-33 can help kind of kickstart that, for one. And for two, that light vehicle gives you an extra bit of oomph behind it. So, again, I'm going to grouse about it. Not sure why we have a mechanized group deciding, you know what, let's go through the center again.
Yeah, it seems what's really happening here is Stardekk is very much trying to exploit the far south role Pantsu is still trying to do his best to hold on to a sort of salient on that hill, so it's just seeing a weird crisscross of fire here. We do see pretty heavy reinforcements from Pantsu, a bunch of SS Legionaries, some Stug 4s. Honestly, if that Stug 4 can get into position and just shut down the road using its rather long-range firepower and armor, he should be pretty good.
Well, the Stug 4 before has already taken out at least one of these. See that little burning pyre to the north as this too? That used to be a T-34. So he's already making his presence felt. And like you said, it is true that there's a lot of material over here for the 97th that should be able to push him back. But I don't know. I still might actually give some of the vehicle play, especially the Jagdpanzers coming over here in a few minutes, to the 17th SS.
Yeah, it's mainly just the ability to get oil Stugs and Panzer 4s. This is a pretty good map for open ground play. Stardekk actually getting an IS Ron Comrati for the center, as the center is very much slowed down quite a bit. We're seeing a little bit of maneuver in the northern part of the town, and just taking a brief glance far up north, nothing's going on. That's the gentleman's agreement area. Neither side wants any bloodshed.
Absolutely. Now, we are going to see a 37mm Ju-87 make a gun run to the south. This is fine. There's zero ground cover from the Russian side of things. You can see already. Very quick kill, in and out. This is not a dogfighting thing, obviously, in the first place, so I really like that call-in.
Yeah, and good combos are using the recon plane to actually do reconnaissance first before eating in that Ju-87, especially considering how slow the Ju-87 can be. There's a very good chance that your ground units can lose line of sight. So having that recon plane there is definitely giving him some very good line of sight. Like, he's picking off Stardekk's little pussy quite easily in the SS Legionaries. Rather good at CQC, gonna be winning these engagements.
Mostly because that Papa Shah, though, is not able to get range. So, kind of weird thing about this, how the Guard DP actually moves, I think, maybe 50 meters, maybe less than that to the west. Can't help but feel he actually might have been able to push back the Legionary.
No, I'm gonna say no.
That's totally fine. Yeah,
they're not good at CQC at all, and the Legionaries with the fanatic trait does give him quite a bit of extra oomph.
You know what? For some reason, I kind of thought the Guard DPs had more than one Papa Shah.
No.
Yep, my bad. Not Automochikis, of course, but that was, when you kind of guffawed as loudly as that was, I thought, I made a mistake here, so thank you for kind of keeping me honest. I appreciate that.
No problem. One man gets a rifle, another man gets a rifle, and eventually somewhere down the line, one guy gets a submachine gun.
That's true, but that's
hopefully
the guy...
they get ammo too.
Oh, as I said, that's the guy who pays the party dues. He's the guy who gets the submachine gun. Didn't say he gets ammo, like you said, but... Now, the Comrati is facing off against that Stug 4. Now, unfortunately, we are having a couple of martyrs, which, if nothing else, I think it'd be actually quite valuable in taking some of the heat, or maybe putting some stress on the IS-1, because the IS-1 right now, Stug 4 goes down. That is probably the biggest bit of threat there. That is now not bueno at all.
Yeah, it's going to be a rather big pain. I wouldn't be surprised coming to B phase if we start seeing some Pack 43s being ripped on out here for the center, especially if potential IS-2 play. They're going to be rather important in dealing with some of this heavier armor. Of course, using those heavy anti-tank guns is quite difficult in the center of the map because there's nowhere to bloody hide them. There's a very good chance to just get bombed. At the same time, Stardekk's actually got a decent anti-aircraft net, and by decent I mean 337mm, which is pretty heavy for 1v1.
It is, but they've been very, very good so far. Let's not kid ourselves. They've already gotten one ground kill, well, air kill from the ground. So nothing to sneeze at there.
Mm-hmm.
You said before that Schwere PantsuAbteilung505, and we just call him the pants guy. Colonel Schwartz over here was investing very heavily over here into the central position. I'm not seeing where all that investment is now. Now, to be fair, a lot of those troops might be 6 feet under in very, very defensible positions. But I kind of get the feeling that Stardekk has had enough of this. And boosted by this IS-1, I feel like this is it's going to be B phase. I'm ramping myself up. It's time to kind of crush.
Yeah, with that income advantage he's going to get in B, it's really now or never to try and make this central push happen and kick him out of the town. He does have, like you said, a whole lot of guys in there. The IS-1 fire support. Pantsu had to spend a lot of money trying to crowd the southern barrier here. You know, he still holds on to that little flag on the hill, which is good enough for him. It seems very much that B phase is just gonna really make or break in how the center either holds or breaks or both. Who knows?
Exactly. Both A and B are options. The 50 mil was kind of shelling position by position, and this is maybe not the best thing if you're a contractor looking for extra work, but that mortar is just getting rid of one house after another. Pigren's getting thrown back in disarray. T-34's coming in. We have the guards, of course, with their long-range machine guns. And the half-tracks is kind of doing what they do. Martyr and 233 coming on in, but I get the feeling these guys are going to go down pretty darn quick as the IS-1 rotates.
Yeah, and even then, the guards EPs do have those anti-tank rifles, which work quite well against Martyr 3. So very effective push. I do love seeing 50 mils being used, especially in this sort of town fight. Just the pinpoint deadly accuracy works so well dealing with MG42s. I mean, a 50 mil is kind of like a automatic grenade launcher.
It kind of is. You're right. Not the first thumper, I think, I would probably kind of trust here. Interesting. There's an 81 mil from the Germans that's putting smoke down in the T-34-76. I would have probably done that to the IS-1, especially since I had that Panzerschreck team in the area.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a bit of a desperate play. He really wants to put him out of action, or just out of action in regards to not shooting at him temporarily, but dropping the smoke so close means he just has to drive forward 50 meters, and he's good. And now he's continuing to shoot the Germans quite effectively.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys. He's like, my mama says I shouldn't smoke, and just, stepped on whatever the heck the second gear is in that T-34. And we are to phase B, so I'm taking a look around. We do have a Nebelwerfer on the field. I don't see a 43 just yet, unless there's one down south. There is not.
Yeah, he's gonna need some defensive barrages from those neighbors to probably try and help with this push, because it's coming pretty hot here. You also got to realize it is an M2 Commandant and a bunch of leaders on the field, giving his unit some rather nice buffs. And those can really make a big deal in these town fights as the extra veterancy. Even with inferior equipment, you can really start hitting above your rate.
So he's going after 37 mil, which actually might be accidentally the right place to put this, because if he does get that combat like you're talking about, that's a significant hit to the economy, let's say.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely killing the command would be rather good here, but Stardekk still has a good position. Oh, we got the door push stretch again, a good gun jam hit on the T-34. Neighbor effort goes out.
And doesn't kill.
No.
But hey, he's reciting it, which I appreciate. Yes, sir?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is removing. It's always the risk of rocket counter battery. It either kills everything or it just makes a bunch of craters in the ground.
You're either the hero, you live long enough to see that your barrage gives the enemy defensive positions.
Oh, what's this G1 doing? I think he's trying to go in a bit hot here, but lost line of sight.
No, actually, when it came in the first place, there was no order whatsoever. So he was just loitering over the front lines. Now he's booking it out of there. Bizarrely enough, the IL-2 is trying to dogfight with it, but very, very luckily, the German 36 does kind of push it back. So very, very fortunate right there.
Seems like kind of a Jabaton maneuver, yeah. Like, incidentally. You'll really actually get the IL-2. It's the $1 million question.
Nah, it's a flying brick. Come on.
Yeah. The answer is no.
Now, down south, we are seeing Sturm Pioneers being lined up. So look to see another push. Actually, he's going back for that flag. He's on the brink of losing it. So the unfortunate thing is that there's a PTRD that probably could rotate. He doesn't have eyes on right now in terms of distance. I'm not sure how I like this. I mean, I completely understand it. I'm not sure how much I like it. Looking back to the center, P-Shrek, 231, and the Martyr 3, desperate to kind of keep these heavy tanks at bay. They will not do it. They will not do it.
No. Yeah, these T-34 and IS run trading quite effectively. Of course, 17th sets has some rather good light armor. But without any heavy armor backing him up, I'm still quite surprised you haven't seen a Pack 43 being brought in. Here, I've actually seen a Flak 88, so that may come to try to act as a hodgepodge anti-tank role. Because by God, he needs to start dealing with those tanks, because he's getting pushed out of his town quite quickly.
He certainly is. I think that's why he's being so desperate to put troops back into the southern side of the Sturm Pioneers. Those guys, that teeny tiny flag area is probably the best place you can put Sturm Pioneers, just because to take that back, you must get knife fighting close.
Yep.
But he doesn't have the flag advantage anymore. It's 13-11 going the other direction.
Yeah, all he can really do is defend that little hilltop. You can't really push with his force anywhere else. It's going to take way too long getting through the forest, and that just includes way too much ground he has to defend. He might as well just keep it a nice, easy fortification. But then he's having to invest a lot of money holding just one flag, and he really needs that money in the center here, because by God, like honestly, Stardekk's doing a fantastic just use of, combined arms war. He's got the aircraft, he's got the artillery, the tanks, the infantry, all working together in a pretty good unison, and really starting to kick Pantsu's pants.
Yeah, but I think, Colonel Boxer Shorts is playing for Phase C at this point. He's like, you know what? Fine. I took some tickets away from him early on. That's good. I knew B was going to be a problem. BF-109 goes in and doesn't really achieve a whole lot with those rockets. Of course, I'm going to say the same thing about that next neighborhood for strike as it tries to aim for... Oh, no. He switched at the last second.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's going to be, I think, pretty important here for Pantsu. Like, he has taken a bit of a kick in the pants. Usually on this map, if you lose the entirety of the town, it's very hard to push back. If he can just keep that small little salient, whereas like Volkdeutsch and the 81 millies, that might be enough to get him back into the game, because from there you can bring in your stugs and engage in a little bit more of a medium-range combat.
Unfortunately for him, the neighborhood got taken out by the 160. Sorry, the 122, rather. It's like, wait a second, why did that strike not go in? Wait a second, he's not even selectable anymore. And you look back there, yep, it's just a smoldering husk. One thing also, I think the Gentleman's Truce is over up north. We got an 85 and a 76, and Strafniki and guards. So they're being tentative about it. But I feel like Stardekk says, you know what? I know I'm shoving you back in the center. It's time to force you to push something, to defend something else. And when you're doing that, I'm going to take advantage of the lack of troops, again, in the center. Because any place you have to go and deploy a new defense is resources not being deployed in another theater, obviously.
Yeah, that's a really good push, considering we get into the Twilight of B phase, and he wants to take advantage of that income disparity he has for the time being. So might as well just do one final little investment up north and see where it goes. Even if he doesn't completely hold it for the majority of the match, just once again, like you said, taking troops away from the center and drawing the fighting power from there, it's going to buy him time. And this is a pretty cheap push. Some T-35. Oh, one of them's an 85. That's a bit of an investment.
Well, and you can see right now, too, he's waiting. Let me back up, because I feel like right now I'm actually really quite excited about this. I can't speak. The Germans are moving troops back to the center. They're going to get caught off guard by the stuff to the north. There's a 3-unit push down south. It doesn't seem like a whole lot. But watch as Pantsu has to almost defend to the northern side, because this defense shouldn't be able to hold this.
Yeah, the main problem is they do have some anti-tank infantry, but not a whole lot. Maybe that Panzerstrat can maneuver through, but, if Stardekk uses his infantry effectively, he should be able to screen for his T-34s. And he does also have, like, a second wave being prepared in those tankos and guard DPs and the half-tracks, which honestly the very nice bonus of 97th is just that few half-track infantry can go a long way. I mean, we've seen with, second French players, just what the damage they can do with a 50 cal on a half-track.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the Legionary over here does push back the Strafniki for half a second, and then every single one of those guys comes close for a high five and gets blown up by TNT.
It's dynamite.
It certainly is. They're on the highway to hell now. And now with that in mind, I mean, there is still a P-Shrek kind of marauding around. Wow, that is That is a very, very long 250.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Perfect little sniper. He is barely going to get out, but that's going to buy him just a little bit of time dealing with one of those tanks, forcing the other T-34 back. And he's going to be bringing in Stern Pioneers. One flag does flip over to Stardekk. And yeah, he is still getting that nice sort of 14-10 plus run. Preferably, he really needs a bigger bleed and B phase. But it definitely feels like he has the momentum advantage in the match still.
Well, he's forced a pack 43 to get brought here, so that point's 115 points. There's only 4 of them on the map, and that's not getting resighted now because the vehicle just got taken out. Yeah, the 43 is not the happiest right now. That was just on the edge of his range, wasn't it? Yeah, just shot. Yeah. Wow.
That's always the difficulties in the 43 in the centers. You can't hide it. It just has to be in an open field. I mean, that does give IS-2s a pretty good fighting chance when dealing with it.
Intriguing as well. Ju-87 comes on in. Once again, the flying tank comes through. Wing damage. Yeah, the Ju-87's going to get killed. One way or another. That really should be making it out. He's already smoking hardcore. Yep, he goes down. 17th pilots today have not been having a very good job in the theater. Down south, in the meantime, Pioneers are desperate to hold the lines, but Tanko Desantniki and Otomochiki, backed up by the occasional guard squad, I think we see a -2 already. I wouldn't be surprised if we get close to a -3.
Yeah. It's a very good trade all over. You know, he's hitting up north, hitting down south, hitting in the center, kind of, you know, changing his angles of attack. And now with all the investment being in the center and north, the southern side is pretty bare, and some Pioneers are scary, but when you got enough Russian bodies with Papa Shahs, you can win that fight.
You certainly can. There's an IS-2, by the way, that you were talking about. He's bang smack dab in the middle of the map, and the Stroke 4 Führer says, you know what, I remember the teep kettle on, and backs away from that rather foolish duel.
Yeah, I don't know really if ever Stardekk can continue pushing and completely kick Pantsu out of the town, but at this point with the flank play, he doesn't really need to. He has still a very good defensive position, and at the same time, counter-clockwise, Pantsu doesn't have the force to really kick Stardekk out of the town, so we'll probably just see a bit of, or maybe we'll just see the entire town get blown up, on the outskirts at least.
It's 132.
I think this is the rocket barrage. I don't know if it's smoke or not.
I think its position's a little bit too far to the west. So, I mean, this could have been bananas, like BANANAS levels. But thankfully for Pantsu over here, he's got 6 units that are taking incidental fire. And yes, a couple of Mr. Volksdeutsche are getting forced back. But unless a Strafniki start picking up a couple of really, really cheeky hits, which I'm not saying is impossible, he should theoretically be able to hold.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a follow-through. And he does have a good opportunity here to follow through, as we can see. Actually, there's that sneaky Stug down south. That's in a very good defensive position. Yeah, I like that. A little bit risky. Infantry could come by and just pop him, but that's not going to happen.
But he picks up the 17-7 in the meantime. And down south, there's one brave Strafniki squad being thrown on forwards as like a recon by using fleshy bits. I don't imagine he's going to survive for too long. And geez, did one of the mortars go down to the PTRD, or did he just get hit by one of the rockets?
It's dead.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. That's the important part here. You're absolutely correct. I should have been a little more specific. And while we weren't even looking at the northern side, too, jeez, everywhere we turn away our heads, the Germans are getting kicked in the teeth.
Just all over the place. North, south, east, or west. So there's going to be a bunch of Avtos and Strafnikis pushing you down.
Absolutely. Now, one thing here is that if the Legionary comes back off of the pin down, this could get bad. But, there we go. Otomochiki takes his pound of flesh. And that's a -3.
Damn. That's a pretty heavy point bleed here. Really, the past 3 minutes, went completely south here for Pantsu now. He's not been trading efficiently at all, and even far down south, Strafniki is actually pushing onto the hill, trying to get every single flag at this point.
Well, with the guards backing them up, I mean, there's potential to take it. They're going to take some heavy losses, especially as this next, let's call, reinforcement wave moves in. 3 squads of Italians moving in. And there's 2 more Nebelwerfers on the field. No real selections just yet. Oof. And Stug 4 goes down. Courtesy the IS-1. The hero IS-1 in the meantime. He's actually almost out of... No, he's out of HE shells, of course. But you should probably be able to pick up another ground kill or 2 of significance.
It's actually just a really odd fact. It's quite funny for IS-1 how it has more AP shells than HE shells, when usually Soviet tanks it's backwards. It's just random fact of the days, guys.
I was waiting for the reason that there were more APs than HEs.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure where he's going.
I'm guessing they were expecting to blow up more tanks, but Soviet doctrine was like, hey, let's just slap in more HE and AP, because tanks most of the time aren't fighting tanks, and really just glorified artillery guns.
As that famous case one shows. JU-88 does come in. He should be able to pick this up, though he was panned quite a bit. There we go. He does get it.
Does go down. At least it's out, it's fixed its ammo problem.
Exactly.
But there's a whole other problem of Pantsu doesn't really have the center anymore.
Nebelwerfer, for some reason, tries to engage the pop gun to the north. A very interesting decision there.
Yeah,
I think
he really needs to be dealing with the front line, which is failing.
I was going to say, there's that nice little crossroads, which is just like a giant target that I should be hitting right there. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. Northern side T-34-85 does go down, and being replaced just by tons and tons of bodies. The 231 is a bit of a hassle, but there's this 2, there's a 45 mil. I mean, heck, we have all this infantry of varying quality and varying armaments. That stuff should be just fine. And down to the south, we are seeing the remnants of the Machiki squad that were used to kick out all the Stern Pioneers being brought on forwards. And I think this is just this is Stardekk going for icing on top of that cake.
Yeah, the only thing really keeping Pantsu really in play up north and down south are just these Legionary blobs. I mean, they're fantastic infantry, extremely cost-effective for what they can do. But they can only do so much when there's just a horde of Russians coming at him. And rather well-trained Russians with all the 3-star bonuses through his sort of command leadership, he's doing pretty good.
Kind of a weird thing to think about the fact that we, first didn't see the command vehicle over here for the 17th SS. I'm not saying that would have turned everything around, but it would have been nice to have. And second, I didn't 505 have enough eyes on the pitch that maybe that would have been a better Nebelwerfer target? I don't know. I know I kind of made a half comment about it before, and hindsight is 2020. Especially from a plane, but I feel like that would have been even better to kind of utilize as opposed to trying to pick off the occasional anti-air position.
Yeah, honestly, the Stardekk played this extremely well, just using combined arms, hitting on all flanks, not getting tunneled vision. Really, just textbook, honestly.
True, but that's why he's one of those guys that we always enjoy seeing play. He's consistent. And when he's not consistent, there's always something kind of weird and wonky going on that's kind of fun to notice. Last Legionary being brought on in, I think, if nothing else, from the Pride perspective, we have 2 squads, 3 squads, an MG-34 coming behind it, and a Raz Vedozer, which is basically, of course, a DT sniper squad, which is not a phrase you often get to say.
Yeah. It's like the DT is like the spotter. It's like, just follow my tracers, sniper.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like we've all been there. We've all been there.
And like also 6 MP40s, because why not? That's a fun loadout.
That's if you've been spotted and things have gone real bad. And kind of with that in mind, there's a JU-88 just dropping 1,000 kilos on that one lead squad of Strafniki. I think out of just pure malice more than anything else. Yep. Evaporated. But that's going to be all she wrote, folks. The Russians take a very, very convincing victory here. And beautiful marking actually out of that 132 barrage.
Yeah. Nice, perfect circle.
Okay, so it wasn't Luna, and I have to give nod over here to Spa505. I think that's a Geared Face, I think, for some reason. But
yeah, it's from Rick and Morty.
Exactly. So the kills and losses, though, this is pretty brutal.
Yeah, that felt just about right, especially towards the end. Just looking at the the chronology just says it past the 20-minute mark.
But
it looks very blue.
Here's why: 37 mil pop gun, 5 kills. Borodine, the IS-1 in the middle.
Whoa!
I couldn't even tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Whoa.
5, 6 ground kills and assorted other material. He's responsible for like 800 points by himself.
Dios mío.
Exactly. Folks, when you hear a Canadian say Dios mío, you know it's pretty rough.
Jafniki is row.
Yeah. People just going off like crazy.
Wow. Yeah, those are some good traders on the kill side.
On the other side, IG-33, 6 kills, a lot of them in PBI, but pretty solid nonetheless. And other than that, that's really the only guy that can kind of go and really champion. Everyone else maybe gets a kill, maybe doesn't. It's rough all the way around.
Mm-hmm. With a capital R.
Indeed. Any final thoughts, sir?
Nope.
Well, folks, in that case, then, you know what time it is. It's time for us to say goodbye. Until next time, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.